This is Ryan with Roundnet.
This is Dane Clement with Great Dane Graphics.
Harry Oster with Equipment Zone.
Pierre from the Shirtport.
And you're listening to the Two Regular Guys
podcast.
Hosted by Aaron Montgomery and Terry Combs. Hope you enjoy the show.
Well, welcome to the show, everybody. It's Friday, February 2nd, 2018. I'm Terry Combs with Equipment Zone, and you can also find me over at terrycombs.com.
And I'm Aaron Montgomery, and you can find me at aaronmontgomery.info, and as well as sublysource.com. You're going to see me keep looking up and to the left because I've got something up there that I was supposed to be over here. But anyhow, we'll get that switched as we go through the show here, Terry. Lots of fun. But today we're going to be talking with Josh Carruth, who's the show director at Imprinted Sportswear Show, and just coming off what I've heard and what you've told me, Terry, was a very successful ISS show. So looking forward to talking to him. You may have seen some notes about us potentially talking to Gildan, but due to a last minute cancellation, we had to shuffle. So we're also going to talk to our friend of the show, Erich Campbell, today as well, Terry. So looking forward to that.
You know, the guys over at Gildan must think that we are the second or third most listened to podcast in the world, not the first for that last minute cancellation. But some news items, Aaron. David Gross and Cheryl Kuchek are going to be talking Chroma-Lox over on Facebook Live, here on Facebook Live. The live session will cover how to master Chroma-Lox by preventing ghosting, cloudiness, and more. I should watch that. I'm actually going to New Jersey for a sublimation class with our friends at Epson. They're going to be doing that at Equipment Zone. The broadcast will air on today at 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the Sublimation for Beginners and Beyond Facebook group. So go over and check that out. I'm sure that'll be a great show.
Yeah, it should be fun. So again, get into that Sublimation for Beginners and Beyond Facebook group and check that out. Terry, I had one other thing too here. Group Stalls promoted Josh Ellsworth. He's a Reggie Award winner. Right. A lot of those on the show today, actually, Terry. So that's pretty exciting. But Josh has been promoted to Vice President of Sales and Dealer Channel for Group Stalls. So Josh has been with the company, comes to the role with nearly 20 years of service at the company in roles such as maintenance, sales, production, and general manager of the company's educational resource, Stalls TV. His career with Group Stalls dates back to 1998. So wow. Josh seems like he's done everything there.
I think so. And it's not like the bank where everybody's vice president. That's a big deal. So congratulations to Josh. And Josh has been a guest on the show several times, and we'll have to get him back to talk about his new position. But, you know, one more quick thing, Aaron. The 11th Annual Wearables Apparel Design Awards were recently announced, and they were featured in the February edition of Wearables, as well as sharing the secrets behind those unique looks. And there's going to be a link to that on our website. And I'm writing an article for Wearables this weekend. So hey, look at me. I just finished, you remember last week, Aaron, we did the 5 things, and my 5 things were about how to speed up production for direct-to-garment because I was writing an article, and by doing it as 5 things, I got my article submitted a day early. It was due today. I sent it in yesterday about 5:30 in the morning. I couldn't sleep knowing I had to do an article, so I got up and finished it up and sent pictures, and so.
Awesome. All right. Well, good stuff. We'll stay tuned right after our interview with Josh. He's going to actually share 5 things with us today. So I'm excited to hear what he's got on the docket for us. That'll be great information, and we'll get that shared over on our Facebook page too as well. So
yeah, and if anybody else, Aaron, would like to contribute 5 things, any of our regular listeners, we're always looking for contributions other than our own. We can always come up with 5 things, but we'd love to hear some other items from the industry, and it's just 5 quick things to think about to start a conversation. But hey, we want to thank everybody for listening. We are so pleased to bring this weekly show to you since February 2013. We're starting our 6th season, Aaron, and this is episode number 238. Hard to believe, right? But we try to avoid rants and lecturing, and we would love for you to visit our website. It's It's Two Regular Guys, the number 2 regularguys.com. Check out the show notes from previous podcasts, and we have lots of great links and additional information. Anytime we have somebody on the show, we always link their information, or anything they reference will be linked there as well. And we're always looking for suggestions for future shows, and you can do that through our Contact Us page or through any social media outlets. You can always find us at the number 2 Regular Guys. And if you're catching the live video via Facebook, we would love to hear your comments, insights, questions, and suggestions about today's topic. Before we dive into the show, though, Aaron, let's hear a word from our title sponsor for 2018, the Specialty Graphic Imaging Association. Let's hear from SGIA. Connected, empowered, inspired.
That's you after ThreadX, powered by SGIA in Palm Springs, California, February 25th through the 28th, 2018. This new event, designed by and for garment decorators, explores not just how to sell products, but how to get noticed.
The focus is on marketing, branding, and consumer trends in this omni-channel retail age.
Join the Two Regular Guys to satisfy your appetite for actionable inspiration with speakers including Johnny Cupcakes, Tim Williams of the YR Store, and many more. This is a must-attend event if you plan on seeing your company into the future. Plan on attending ThreadX, powered by SGIA in Palm Springs, California, February 25th through the 28th, 2018. Go to threadx18.com for more details and to register.
We can't wait to see you there. All right. Well, Aaron, you and I are both excited to attend ThreadX, and we're going to be hosting the casino night, so that'll be a lot of fun. And if you haven't signed up yet, I know it's filling fast, and it's going to be out in Palm Springs, California. And hey, if you fly into Phoenix, we probably have 1 or 2 more seats left in our car to make the the trip over. But Aaron, are we ready to bring Josh in?
I believe.
Hey, Terry.
Hey, Josh. Hey, I don't know where Aaron is. We were. Hey, it wouldn't be Two Regular Guys if we didn't have a little bit of technical difficulty. But
Right.
I would like to welcome Josh Carruth as show director for Emerald Expositions and heading up the Imprinted Sportswear Shows. Hey, Josh, tell us a little bit about what you have done previous to the ISS shows.
Well, hey, everybody. Happy Friday. I've done trade shows pretty much my entire career. I was actually with ISS the last 4 years in a different capacity. I was on the operations side. And this year, some things moved around, and I kind of came in as show director. And it's been great so far, especially with the Long Beach we just had. Couldn't ask for more. 9% up in attendance. Marcia Berry was at a show that wasn't affected by weather. Which was probably the biggest miracle. So everything's been good. But yeah, trade shows are my thing.
Awesome. Yeah, for anybody who doesn't know, Marcia was trapped in Houston during the flooding, and so she couldn't get out. And her next event was scheduled to be in Orlando, as I recall, and that was the show that lasted 1 day because of the hurricane. So, Aaron, you were actually there, and like the last plane out of Saigon, you were
exactly.
The last flight back to St. Louis, I think.
Yep, we were nearly stuck there, but we made it.
Well, so Josh, you mentioned the ISS show in Long Beach. Tell us a little more about that. I will tell you this: I had really good intentions. I had my digital recorder in my pocket, and I was going to go around and get some interviews with people. I literally did not leave my booth one time because of the crowd.
I noticed. I came to talk to you each day, and I was like, man, you guys are busy. But yeah, like I said, we were almost 10% up in attendance over last year, which is a huge win. It kind of sets the pace for the year. It comes out strong. We know things are growing. With Long Beach, we saw the arena area in year 2. It more than doubled in companies. MHM had a large booth there and tripled in square footage. So it was more traffic this year, and we got some things in line in the future that will just help that even further.
Awesome.
In conference too, on the education side, numbers were way up. All the classes were well attended, and some of them I popped my head into were standing room only. So beyond that stuff, just having a chance to meet and talk with folks. Some I've known from my previous role, and some were new, just in a different capacity. It was great to hear the things they had to say and what we need to be paying attention to. All the shows, all the industry as it changes and melds and things like that. We held a very productive advisory board meeting that had some great ideas come out of it. It was super exciting for us. Just some of the things would have been like, from the shows itself versus their customer demographics that they're seeing, all those kind of things. Very, very insightful conversation.
I always mention this, and listeners may get tired of hearing it, but I ask every time I do a seminar, how many people in the seminar you're attending your first trade show? And I had a full room as well, just like you were mentioning, and probably 75% of the people who raised their hands said this was the very first trade show they've ever attended, which is awesome for the industry.
Really? That's great to hear.
Absolutely.
Good stuff. All right, so you guys hear me, or is it Darth Vader again?
A little Darth
Vader.
All right,
good. There's lots of fun stuff going on in the background over here. But Josh, one of the things we talked about some of your previous roles, but I want to go back a little further. First mate at River Sports Divers for 5 years in the Grand Canyons. That sounds pretty awesome. I want to ask you about that. It's, electrical assistant for a little bit. So if exhibitors can come see you if they can't find the electricians.
I try to translate.
Translate. Okay, perfect. And then
I've got a plug like this and an outlet like that.
And then lifeguard. So any after hours pool parties, we should feel safe when you're around.
Oh yeah, definitely may have had a few of those back in the day. But so the quick background on that is my father, who was an engineer by trade, owned his own construction company, decided to move to the Cayman Islands and own a dive shop. So every summer growing up, I would go down there and get put to work basically. But it was amazing experience. That you don't get better than that. He actually passed this year while we were at our Nashville show. So right as I was transitioning in, it was kind of a bittersweet moment, but I did get to tell him and things like that. So we had a great relationship, and that's where the fun comes from.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Took me to Cuba when I was 17.
You guys like sneak in, or
pretty much, yeah. That's a whole other topic. We'll talk about that when we win some beer.
The Homeland Security's on the phone, by the way, for you.
Well, Josh, speaking of the success of Long Beach, I did want to finally get a chance to officially present you with your Reggie Award. This is the 5th straight year that ISS Long Beach has received that award. In fact, every year we've had the Reggies. So what makes the show so special?
Oh, well, thank you guys. First of all, we were stoked when we found out. It's awesome, and I hope that the show kept that up. This show, because it's owned, a lot of it has to do with, we put in hard work, yes, but let's give some credit where credit's due. The exhibitors own the show. It's their show, and they really have invested a lot in their showings and what they do. The timing of the year is great for what trade shows are meant for, which is debuting product lines or updates, any big news. There's just a huge buzz around it. Geographically, it also is better suited for some of the international travel that may come across the Pacific and things like that, being that it's so far west. It's our most international show, besides being ISS's largest event. And you have to say something with last year, again, back to the weather thing. We expected a bit of a pickup this year, but not close to 10%. Like we always want that, but we have to be realistic with goals. So it was great to see the turnout we had. Over 24,000 people pre-registered, and north of 60% of that showed up, which is against trade show grains too. And even that, the total attendance was up as well, but we had the same number of exhibitors. The increase was in the buyers. The people that you mentioned, Terry, were first time in a trade show, learning these things and doing it the right way. It's not about making money. It's education. I've come to learn is paramount, and specifically this industry, to where it's all about know right. I'd rather not make the sale, but know what you're doing so you can be a customer in the future. And I love that mentality. It's not like that in other industries.
Yeah, I always tell people that all the shows are regional shows except for SGIA and ISS Long Beach. That is a national show. People were there from all over. I mean, I'm looking through the scans after the show, and in Virginia, North Carolina, North Dakota, just all over the country. And hey, in no small part, as hey, it's January, North Dakota. Hey, look, there's a trade show in Long Beach, California.
yeah. The location is definitely geographically helpful.
You mentioned last year, and for anybody who doesn't know, last year it rained more on Teardown Day, the last day, than ever recorded in Long Beach, California. And roads were closed. Pine Street was flooded, and so our crates couldn't come in. So I got my crates at 11 o'clock that night. I was right by the big bay doors.
Yeah, you were right by the doors. Yeah,
exactly. And I learned something about that convention hall. Apparently, they have political conventions there because every time the big bay doors would open and the rain would come whipping in and the wind, confetti would fall from the rafters.
Yeah, and the Grand Prix is held there too. That's the paddock for the Long Beach Grand Prix.
Exactly. Yeah.
Learned that one this year. It was interesting.
Well, so we have another show coming up, and so what can people expect at the Atlantic City show, other than the fact that St. Patrick's Day and Aaron and I, you and I have had a lot of fun on St. Patrick's Day in Atlantic City in years past.
Yeah, it's fallen on that a few times. Well, specifically with Atlantic City, we're going to debut some new educational formats that are a bit more informal on the show floor. If you may have seen the last couple of years at Long Beach, we've done some on-site sessions, and those just absolutely exploded over the last 2 years. But we want to take into account the attendee experience as well. Sometimes the formality of the chairs and the prompters and everything is, uninviting to some, and they want more of a chat, a sit and hang out kind of place where some industry folks and maybe even in the future some non-industry thought leaders can come and talk about topics of the day or some issues they've had, kind of like your 5 things idea. Just start talking, and that's going to knock something loose in somebody's head and go, man, I never thought of that. So Atlantic City will be the first place we have what we're calling Shop Talk. The schedule's already full. The speakers were all over it. That's from what I hear from Marcia. And we're looking for that to be kind of an upgrade to the ISS attendee experience, where it's not just business. Everybody's there to do business, but sometimes you need a little bit more to learn things you never knew you needed to learn.
Well, I think that's going to be a lot like the internet. People want some quick answers, and I'm going to be one of those speakers. And Aaron, I'm sure that you're thinking that 15 minutes, you can barely introduce yourself in 15 minutes. But
you may have to have Terry. Why don't you just start introducing yourself before your session starts? And you get right into the information.
I'll just walk around and shake hands while somebody else is doing it. Hi, Terry Combs. Hi, nice to meet you.
Follow me. Yeah, so that'll be the kind of the new thing with Atlantic City. Everything's pacing very satisfactorily as far as how the show's going to turn out. Last year was a great show. We're looking for another one. On the whole, though, there are some other kind of new things on the horizon, as you'd say, for ISS, with launching Houston this year as an answer to the call to connect the Gulf Coast decorating communities somewhere that's Mobile to Houston, you know what I mean? That's a drivable reach right there that that may be underserved from what our research has shown. So we're stoked about that. It's getting excellent feedback on both the exhibitor side and I want to say more importantly, but the attendee side. That's what makes it work for everybody.
Right, exactly.
And we tried to kind of freshen up our look, like we have a new show app, a new website, things like that, just to kind of, again, all comes down to experience and usability, and that's a critical thing.
You have a great staff there as well. Certainly Marcia's been on the show lots of times, and all her years of experience. We speakers, we love working with Sydney, and she takes really good care of us. So lots of great things with that as well. I just wish that it just wasn't so darn cold in Atlantic City some years.
Yeah, 8 or 50, you never know, and always rain.
Yeah. Just make sure.
It's fun in the hall. It's just set up and tear down. If it's everybody's sitting there with their booth and gloves and hats and
yes. But you're right about the team. There's not a person that isn't essential on the team. There'll be a few new faces too, new ops managers and some new marketing folks and things like that. But they're all perfectly qualified. Wouldn't trade any of them for the world. Everybody does such a great job, and we're a small team, and so it's impressive to see. 5 shows and whatnot in the magazines that come out of such a small team.
Right. Hey, and I don't want to forget Lee because at a few shows ago, I was having some kind of issue with freight for a class, and man, he bent over backwards to make sure that everything got taken care of. Aaron, Josh, are you guys back?
Hey, Terry, you got me?
Are you there, Josh?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes, absolutely. I don't know if Aaron's here or not, but hey, how can folks find you, find ISS, and find out about attending future ISS shows?
Go to www.issshows.com, and that'll be our global homepage. You can pick your city. The contacts are there. If you need us at any time, we're here for anything at all.
I always tell people when in my screen printing classes and direct to garment classes, I always mention the different shows. And when I describe ISSshows.com, I always say 3 S's in the middle.
Yeah, that's a tricky one.
Exactly, and it's plural,
Right.
not like all the other ones. But hey, Josh, we did ask you to present its 5 things this week, and I'll give you a chance to go ahead and present your 5 things.
All right. So first off, ISS turns 40 this year, which means a lot of things. But we get better with age and things like that. But something for 40 years of experience is still around, might say something. Number 2 is we have a new look this year, look and feel, everything like that. We got a makeover, so to speak. So we hope everybody can like that. We'll have a new event in Houston, launching Houston, that's replacing the Nashville show from previous years. We've also, as I mentioned earlier, invested a lot in our attendee and exhibitor experience as far as educational sessions, workshops, and those formats that come with them. And lastly, I talked to you about this on site in Long Beach, but 2018 is a year that I would love for us to make a stronger commitment to education as a whole. Right. Specifically with skills and how we can get involved in helping that, because that is the future. That is what the industry will be, and trends are going to change as generations change, and we all need to be paying attention and keeping up with that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, those are great 5 things, and I have to admit that I attended my first ISS show in 1979. So I'm dating myself. I was 8, I think. No, I was.
We're going to keep coming back too.
Let's see. I graduated from college in '78 and started my screen printing business right out of college. So, anyway, thanks, Josh, for coming on the show. And I don't know if Aaron's still here or not, but appreciate you coming on the show. And we will see you again out in Atlantic City.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, super.
See you.
Aaron, are you with us?
I'm just having some issues. Sorry, everybody. Let's play a quick commercial here, and we'll come back and see if we can solve some of this.
Our show today is sponsored by Equipment Zone. Go to equipmentzone.com for the Epson F2000 direct-to-consumer printer. Equipment Zone is the only Epson reseller who sends a technician to every customer location for training. This is an absolutely free visit to your location. Equipment Zone is also the manufacturer of the #1 pre-treat machine in the industry, the Speed Treater TX. With no compressor and no special tanks, the Speed Treater TX is the easiest and most consistent pre-treat machine available worldwide. Go to equipmentzone.com for the Epson F2000, the Speed Treater TX, and for all your DTG needs and supplies. That's equipmentzone.com. That's equipmentzone.com. All right, Aaron. The sound is a little shaky. I don't.
Yeah.
Hopefully we're still broadcasting when Josh did his 5 things. I'm not certain, but it said live in the corner there, and I let Josh go, but. Aaron, I think I've lost you again. Okay, Aaron, are we back? Erich.
Hey Terry, how's it going?
Good. As is often the case, we're having some technical difficulties. Aaron is asking if we can hear each other, and obviously we can. We just can't hear Aaron. So
yeah. He's still out and gone, but this is not new. This is something that we've dealt with more than once.
Well, if anybody can hear us out there in the world, welcome Erich Campbell, a multi-Reggie Award winner and relationship manager at Deco Network. Thanks for coming on the show with us, Erich, especially at the last minute.
Hey, I'm not Gildan, but I'm here, and I'm happy to be here. I'm always happy to talk to you guys and to talk to decorators, even if it's one regular guy today. I mean,
exactly. Aaron's floating around out there somewhere in the ethos. And relationship manager, I do have some things that I want to. Oh no, it's not that kind of relationship manager, is it?
No, unfortunately, no. I mean, I'm sure that I'm going to need to be a relationship manager after having been gone from home for about 2 weeks on this last jaunt.
You'll need a relationship manager.
I'm heading right back out to Dax. By the time I get back, I'll be a stranger, I'm sure. But
yeah, exactly. And Aaron and I will, of course, see you at Dax because we're doing a two regular guys seminar and individual seminars. So we will.
Also, a popular demand, folks. I am teaching digitizing. I know I taught some business at ISS, and some people were like, but where's the digitizing? They were freaking out. Well, come out to DAX, all 3 DAX shows. You'll get a really long evening session of me talking digitizing.
Oh, you're doing one of the evening sessions?
Yeah, I'm doing the evening session. Unfortunately, I'll probably miss you guys at the party, too.
Yeah, because we do usually do our show at the party, and
I'm sad. I'm heartbroken.
And you're our go-to guest when we do that. So
I would literally have to run back and forth between that and the session. We'll have to see. I may have to do something else. We'll do this. We'll just join online via the show from right. 2 rooms away, right?
So you guys just talk amongst yourselves. I have to do a real quick interview.
Guys, this is really important. I know you paid for the session, but you really just tune into the podcast for a minute, and I'll be right back.
Well, Erich, you had a big change a year ago. You joined Deco Network, and so now that you're settled in, tell us about Deco from the inside.
Well, what I'll say about Deco Network from the inside is that it's incredible the amount of dedication that these people have to the job, especially the support staff. I think that people think of technical support staff, especially when you're talking about like a software as a service and online product like we have, as kind of this amorphous, these people you don't know who are in some other country telling you stuff, maybe they know you, maybe they don't. It's totally not like that. We're all based out of Atlanta, and the people there are incredibly personal. They help out with everything they can. And it's not just me. We all talk about anything we can help with. I don't want to advertise like, hey, Deco Network, we do free support for everything in the decoration industry. However,
but you do.
but we do. I mean, if somebody has an embroidery question or a pricing question, or I'll take those questions and I'll just talk to people because we're so dedicated to support internally that it's like, I've never seen a company put this much effort and put this much capital into support against what is the usual logic. I mean, education is a big part of that and content's a big part of that, but the on-the-ground support guys are incredible. And also, the developers have been making stuff that really it's the class of the kind of work you'd see outside of our industry. It's the class of mainstream work, and it's pretty incredible stuff. And we'll get to talk about that more as we go on. But it's been really interesting to see what it's like on the tech side of the world.
Yeah, and I do a lot of that myself. We'll have people come onto our live chat and they'll ask a screen printing question. We don't even carry any of those products, but you know what? In the end, it pays off. And first of all, you want to help people. You want to help them to be successful. And honestly, business wise, people want to do business with folks that that first know the information and second want to share the information. But hey, you guys did ISS Long Beach. You exhibited there. Tell us about some of the conversations you had, or well, first of all, your impressions of the show and some of the conversations you might have had with attendees.
Well, the first thing, impressions of ISS Long Beach, I have to thank Josh and all of his crew and Marsha and everybody there, because ISS Long Beach was insane. I mean, it was fantastic. The number of people coming through, like you, I had all these intentions of doing content, because as people who know, who follow me with Deco Network, I do webinars and interviews and content and podcasts, whatever. We do all of that content as well. I couldn't get out of the booth. I was just a standard booth worker for a lot of the time when I wasn't teaching, because it was just so intense, the number of people who were coming through the booth. So impressions were great. And also, I want to say that the commitment to education has already started. I mean, Equipment Zone, and I know you always have done the in-booth education thing, but it was everywhere this year. Tons of people, vendors, everybody was doing in-booth education, and we ended up doing the same because we set up for demos. We also had our current customers come in, and we just stopped because the people who are working the booth are actually fully vested technical support people that we take off of our line to come to the booth. So when people came to the booth, we were teaching in the booth as well. So it was insane. The education was great. So that's what I'd say about ISS. It was the flow of people was great. The attitude from the people who were there is just really great, positive, wonderful folks there. Very excited, a lot of new people too, like you said. And the time in the booth was just fantastic. The interactions were very positive, and everybody was talking growth. I didn't hear people nearly as often as previous years and previous events that I've helped with talk about retracting or how to get things done in the cheapest fashion. People wanted to do things well. They wanted to get educated, and they were actually willing to spend and do real business, which, especially talking to embroiderers, I hate to say this, I was teaching for embroiderers, and really sometimes I get to this point where I'm like you guys, I like to do embroidery, but we have to buckle down and do the business part too. And I didn't have that problem nearly as much. And my class also showed that there was a lot of attendees at the classes.
Yeah, I now that you mentioned that, I did hear a lot of, we're looking to expand our business. A lot of people saying things like that. So there's a real, well, hey, the economy's great. And we took a real downturn about 10 years ago in the industry, and everybody just held on. And I think about 7 years ago, it really started turning around and growing. And it just, there's no looking back now. It's been incredible.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's not only just the show floor, but I've also found that some of the old tropes we always talked about, like seasonality in the business, I think even that has declined a little bit. It's not as seasonal. We're seeing more continual business. I think the idea of personalization and customization, which is so much a part of decoration in the industry, is getting really ubiquitous. It's getting where everybody wants things custom, and they're willing to pay for it more than they used to be. So it's I just can't say enough about where this industry is going, and to see everybody not only buckling down to do the business work, but being interested in expanding and marketing and all the things that we've been hammering on all this time, and to see the vendors get into education like they never have before. And we've been, once again, beating that drum a ton. I know you and I and Aaron, we've all been doing that for some time, and it's great to see everybody on board with education.
I think we should all take credit for that then.
Officially right now, let's all take credit for it. Two of the guys started all of the education, and I was there. I've got an original OG Reggie Winter mug from the first year, so I can prove
exactly.
And you got more stuff coming your way soon.
Right on. You can always use another mug to shine folks on with.
All right. We get, I think, 2, right? You won 2 awards this last year.
Yeah. I can double fist coffee, which is pretty much what I'll be doing to get everything done.
Aaron, you'll have to bring Erich's along to Kansas City and
do some photo ops
station there. Yeah, exactly.
I can do that. I can also ship it to you if you'd rather not try to manage those. But photo ops are good too, so we'll see.
We got to at least do one mug. And that's the other thing I would want to say is that everybody who came up to me at ISS, I had so many people to the point where in the booth, it became a joke. Our general manager for the Americas, Miatek, who I love the guy. He's on the podcast if you haven't seen him. He was just giving me this side eye all the time because I was getting selfies and hugs from all the people who came up to see me. And they were always like, oh, there's Erich doing the rock star thing again. And I was like, no, it's just people. We've talked to so many people you guys know. And I know I've seen it with Terry. Terry will be there. And I'm sure you don't remember every single person you talked to, but you made a big impact on them So when you help people, they come up and they want to talk to you. And what I want to say is to every one of you guys, if I didn't get to talk to you, if we did a selfie, we did a handshake, we hung out for a minute, it was great. And thank you all for coming to see me at ISS, and I hope to see more of you guys at DAX.
We always love to see, and Aaron and I have that with listeners too, that want to come up and get selfies and things like that. And we love to meet listeners in person, and certainly people that have been to our seminars and classes and things like that. And usually it starts with I'm a listener, or you don't remember me, but
right.
Yeah, no, it is a great feeling to have those folks, because that's what's fun to me. I mean, that's why we've been doing this for 6 years, and and I know that's why Erich does it too. It's a good feeling, and it's great to see everybody succeed. And if we can be a little small part in that, then that's awesome. So, all right. Well, I don't know, through some of the difficulties we've had here, if you guys have covered some of this. So if I'm repeating a question, let me know. But,
Sure.
I'm sure you guys talked a little bit about the fact that you were a speaker this year at ISS. And what were your first impressions of that? And how did that go? And if you already covered that, just tell me.
We didn't get real deep into it. I talked about being a speaker, but this was my first year at ISS, and I did a talk about workflow, which it's one of those things where it's kind of an unsexy topic. So I was impressed to see as many people there as were there. I had a pretty full room. Didn't fill every seat, but it's one of those things. Like I said, it's great to do the technical stuff and the digitizing stuff. Everybody shows up kind of standing room only for those. But I was impressed to see how many people were interested and really engaged when I did a workflow presentation. But really great crowd of people, had very interested people who stayed through the whole thing, even though the show floor was opening in the middle of right in the middle of my discussion. But people stayed through the entire thing. I talked right through. Unfortunately, my pacing's a little off. The Q&A had to go long afterward. But I was told maybe to lay off the coffee a little bit because I was trying to fit in that last 10 minutes like a crazy person. But we had great questions from the people who came up afterwards. And for a fairly dry subject where a lot of it was me just hammering into people that you need to manage your information and manage your shop floor well, and keep things where it's repeatable and accessible, and that you can continually deliver a consistent product. It's one of those things where it's like there's a lot of medicine there and not a lot of sugar, So having the people not only stick through it, but come up and say, this is absolutely what I needed. I'm going to straighten myself out. This is the stuff that I haven't been doing. And especially with embroiderers, which, the joke always is, and I repeat this every time, so I'm sure everybody's heard me say it, that it's one of the only industries that you can still find floppy disks hanging around. And I know, I'm sorry, embroiderers, I was also one of these. We had machines with floppies and they still ran great. But at the same time, we have a tendency to be for people to see us as the non-technical side of decoration to some degree, to be kind of, it's the ancient art of embroidery and we have our ancient technology to go with it. But people were on board, were listening, were asking questions, came to see me afterwards on the show floor, were really happy with that discussion about workflow, and were into the technical solutions, the technology, the cloud-based apps, the stuff that I was talking about to make things work and be accessible and have that information flow work well. They were into it, they were asking good questions, and they came to talk to me afterwards and took good notes. And that's something where I expected some nodding heads when I'm telling people one of the things you're going to do all day long, every day, is manage information. So collecting it and managing it is important. I mean, I know that's an unsexy topic. So I was happy to see people not only engage, but happy to learn, and coming up afterwards to really kind of dig deep and find out what they could do to make their shops run better.
Well, the doing the digitizing, doing the decorating, that's the fun part, but
That's the fun part.
You can't do it if you don't, if you're not running your business properly.
Were you hanging out in the back of my shop? my seminar? That's literally the thing I said. I was like, without doing this, we don't get to do the fun part. This is what pays the bills, so you can be creative, people. That's like literally my takeaway from this whole thing for the folks who weren't jumping in. I'm like, this is how we get efficient and we make enough profit to keep doing this stuff and buying the fun machinery and doing all the art.
Exactly.
So digitizing is fun, though? Is that what I just heard? I've heard
I said that. I'm not a digitizer, so.
Okay, I think digitizing is fun. Not everybody does. One of my favorite people who embroiders, and I'm going to go ahead and call her out, Jane Swansea in Houston, Texas, from Swan Threads. She She is a wonderful embroiderer, uses all stock or stuff that she has digitized. And I've asked her before, she's just like, no way, I'm not digitizing. But she is successful doing it. So I'm not going to say everybody has to digitize, but I'm one of the people, I like pushing stitches around on screen. And also I just like to have the control and to make my own weird designs. So if anybody's seen my personal stock collection of like Viking Age embroidery designs that nobody will ever use, you understand that for some of us, it's just fun.
Well, I do know also that we have listeners right now saying to each other, what's a floppy disk? What's he talking about?
Did it finally happen? Did I finally get old?
Yeah, it did.
Did the gray finally catch up to me this year?
Yeah. Well, in the first half of the show, I did have to confess to Josh when he said it's their 40th anniversary that I attended my first ISS show in 1979. So that's if anybody's dating themselves, it's me.
Yeah, I'm trying not to bring up the fact that I was born in that year.
Yeah, thanks for that.
I was going to say, I'm pretty old, and I was 4 years old. So,
and I was out of college. So, all right, let's move on. Let's move on.
I had people in my classes that I'm fairly certain, definitely their age was just about as old as my career. So,
you know,
we had some real young folks out.
Sometimes when I start my screen printing classes, I'll say I started my screen printing career in 1979. And then I pause and say, that's anybody's opportunity to say, how's that possible? But now they don't say anything anymore.
That's not good when they're worried about teasing you. That's
they believe it's entirely possible. But speaking of, hey, we're telling all kinds of secrets. On January 19th, we were telling secrets on the show. So since it's just the three of us here, you have any secrets that you can tell us about Deco Network or anything going on at the show or anything, any new projects?
Here's the thing that's not necessarily a secret, but that's kind of new and people haven't gotten to just yet. One of the things we were presenting at ISS was the limited access beta of our new version 8 front end. And this is the thing that I was so impressed with talking with the developers this last year. People who sign up now and people who are current clients can talk to us, and we give them an affiliate store to play with, and the new front end is entirely responsive. It's drag and drop, so literally you can put in modules. There are widgets where you can drop in your Instagram feed, you can drop in new photos, text, anything you want to on your front end, and it really is comparable. I'm not going to name names, but it's comparable to other kind of front ends that you'll see outside of the industry for e-commerce and easy website building. So in this year coming very soon, you're going to be able to work on your Deco Network site, drag and drop. You'll be able to hit context menus and change everything about your images, your layout, the way we do prices, everything about the way your website looks and is displayed is going to be drag and drop and easy to use, and it's fully responsive, including the online designer that we use to have you design your own garments. So that means that it actually shrinks to any screen size. It doesn't snap to certain sizes, even those kind of like half responsive sites do. It's fully responsive, scaled to any screen there is. It's fully compliant. Google loves it on mobile and scores it highly, and that's coming really soon. So it's not exactly a secret, but if you get in now, if you're one of our clients, you can ask for that beta so you can get to that affiliate store. We give you just a storefront to play with. It's not from your own store, but it's a storefront to play with on version 8 so that when we roll that out, you'll be ready to do all the stuff you want to do to make a really world-class, awesome-looking website easy.
That's awesome. Very cool.
But what about
you do, by the way, sound like a big old embroidery nerd.
So you want secrets.
I want secrets. No,
secrets. Here's the other thing. We have set up our content calendar for the year, and I will tell you there's a lot coming up. There's going to be a lot of education. There's going to be webinars, ebooks, the kind of stuff you saw from us last year that we were testing out. We now know what worked, and we're going to be hitting that education hard. So just like the folks at ISS, the dedication to education is coming for Deco Network this year, too.
All right. You sound like release the memo guy. I don't know what's in the memo, but the memo's coming.
I'm just an embroidery dude. That's all I really. I don't know anything, guys. They don't tell me anything.
Reggie Award. Yeah. See, this guy's smart. All right. All right, Erich. Well, thanks for jumping in with us here and sharing some stuff, some great stuff. Thanks for putting up with our technical problems too. But tell us a little bit about how people can find you, find Deco, find things that you want them to find.
Well, you can find me as always at erichcampbell.com. So ERICH. We'll spell that out like anybody needs to on this show. ErichCampbell.com.
Nobody said Erich. Oh, there it is.
There's the Erich. I knew Erich would have to come out. I just didn't know it'd be me this time. But erichcampbell.com is still where I'm posting. I'm posting a little less frequently, but I'll be jumping back in on that shortly. Coming back off the shows has been kind of rough. And if you can't hear it in my voice, I caught the horrific plague that was going on in ISS. And so I'm just barely back on my feet. But erichcampbell.com is where you get my stuff. The digitizing classes from Dax will be going up there shortly and stuff like that. That's where that stuff's going to be. But otherwise, all the Deco Network stuff is also at deconetwork.com. Go there, check out our blog. It's really cool. We'll have stuff not only from me, but from the entire team, including our catalog team shows all the updates there. We have a post from Amber, who's our marketing coordinator, just did this really cool one on fashion and how to get into fashion lines and decorate for them. She's got some experience doing that as a printer herself. So we actually have some industry folks who are in the back end kind of sharing their expertise, not just me. So go over to deconetwork.com, check that out there. And obviously, always just check it out on social too. Deco Network and Erich Campbell. We'll be sharing all the stuff we're doing and all the stuff I'm doing throughout the year.
Fantastic.
All right, Erich. Well, hang with us because I've got no control over the show right now. So just get to smile, and you can feel free to jump in. We've got a few other events coming up, but you had mentioned your DAX event. Can you give people some details about your seminar there?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm doing an evening seminar for DAX. That's starting out in Kansas City. So that's later this month, folks. It's coming up soon. And what I'm doing is digitizing. And essentially, you're going to be able to watch me digitize over my shoulder quite a bit. So I'm going to be teaching digitizing fundamentals. But part of what I'm going to do is actually run you through some of the process. And I'll have digitizing software live. Usually, I do a lot of slides, talking, and all that kind of stuff. It's great technical stuff. But I'm going to actually highlight some of the key struggles people have with digitizing and work them out live in software. Wow. So it's going to be it's a new kind of thing that we're doing. It's a little experimental. So hey, there may be some things that go roughly. It might be a lot of Q&A, but we have a nice big long kind of ebook level document that goes with it, with a lot of the stuff we're going to talk about, and we're going to play a little by ear, do a little cooking show magic, and I'll do some before and afters of some of the technical stuff that's difficult in digitizing.
Cool.
You're a brave man.
Cool. Yeah, definitely.
I must be.
We like that. We'll talk to you about that. All right.
Right on.
So I've got digital marketing, growing your business with social media and email marketing coming up at DAX Kansas City. That's Friday, February 23rd at 12:30. And then Terry and I will be doing Finding Niche Markets because you are a digital decorator at DAX Kansas City that same day, Friday, February 23rd at 2:20 p.m. And then all three of us will be attending the party that will be that Friday the 23rd at 5 p.m. And we might talk a little bit. We might do some podcasting there, and we might even have a beer or two. So, Terry, what about you?
That's a very good possibility. I have my complete screen printing business course, February 10th and 11th at Atlas Screen Supply in Chicago. That is sold out. I believe they have a waiting list started. March 3rd and 4th, I'm going to be at Atlas Screen Supply in Nashville. Very first time to do a class at that new location. And then I'm going to be at Workhorse Products in April. I don't have the date on that, but it's on my website. My DAX seminar at Kansas City is going to be equipment and supplies for the new screen printer, what you need to buy for success. And that's going to be Friday, February 23rd at 10:20 in the morning. And of course, Aaron and I will be together in the afternoon doing niche markets. And all my upcoming events are at terrycombs.com under tour dates.
All right. And then next week's show, Terry, to be announced.
To be announced, exactly. Shuffling a few things around. In 2 weeks, though, we're going to have Matt from the Rhinestone World, and he's going to give us a little intro to what he's going to be presenting at DAX about rhinestone. So that'll be exciting. Matt's always a great guest on the show. He's a great educator, Erich, as you're talking and we always love to have Matt on the show as well.
Yeah, it's going to be a good show because it's going to be kind of in the same format where we had Erich on earlier talking about the pricing and how to be profitable. But he's going to talk about vinyl and rhinestones, the one section that we didn't really get to cover when we did that series. Right. And so go back and check out Erich's show about embroidery pricing. That was a great show and lots of good feedback from that. So, all right, guys. Well, we made it nearly unscathed. I'm a little bloody and battered, but we'll fingers crossed that this makes its way to the podcast.
If you're hearing it on a podcast, we made it.
Congratulations. Technical difficulty. All right, guys. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, Aaron, I'll see you next week. And Eric, we'll see you in Kansas City.
Glad to be on, folks.
Thank you for listening to Two Regular Guys. Check out our website at tworegularguys.com. That's the number 2, regularguys.com. You can also interact with us over at our Facebook page, facebook.com/tworegularguys, or send us a tweet, twitter.com/tworegularguys. And we have